Hello, parents and families of Alabama students. The Alabama State Department of Education is happy to provide this short tutorial to help you understand the state test your student took last spring and what you can learn from the score report you received from the school. My name is Kathy Paget, and I work with student assessment. Our office manages all of the state assessments. The test your student took is called the ACAP Summative. It's administered to all students in grades 2 through 8 who are enrolled in Alabama's public schools. The test is given once a year in the spring and includes sessions on English language arts and math. Students in grades 4, 6, and 8 also take a science test. All students take the test on the computer unless they have a special accommodation need for large print or braille. The results of the ACAP Summative are provided to you in what we call an Individual Student Report, or ISR. The front page of the report looks like the picture on the left. On the right is a picture of the back, or second page of the ISR. At the top of page 1 of the ISR is some information about your student and an explanation of the test and the purpose of the report. Below that is a chart that shows what we call performance level descriptors. These performance level descriptors describe what it means to score in the 4 different levels. These are important for understanding what is shown in the student results chart that's below the descriptors. The student results chart has lots of information about how your student performed on the ACAP Summative. The left side, which is outlined in red here, is where you'll find what performance levels your students scored in for ELA and math and for science if they took the science test. As you can see here, if your student scored in level 3 or 4, it means they have a strong or advanced level of understanding of the content they were taught last year. They are considered to be proficient for their grade in that content area. If they scored in level 1 or 2, it means they only have a partial or minimal level of understanding of the content they were taught last year. They are probably going to need some additional support this year in order to stay on track. The performance levels are based on your student's score on the test, which you can find to the right of the performance levels. It's called a scale score. The scale score is based on the number of questions your student answered correctly, and it lets you know how your student did within each level. You'll see what that looks like on the back of the report. Next to your student's scale scores, you'll see what's called a student percentile. These numbers let you know how well your child did on the test in comparison to all of the other students in the state in that grade. The student percentile can range from 1 to 99. If your student's percentile is a 75 for ELA, that means they scored better than 75% of the other students in that grade in ELA that year. In fact, they scored much better than the average, which is 50. Finally, the last 2 columns on the right of this chart shows how much your student improved last year from the year before. You will only see a growth score in a growth category if your student tested both last year and the year before. The growth score is a percentile, just like the student percentile. The score can range from 1 to 99, and a 50 is average. Lower percentiles indicate lower academic growth, and higher percentiles indicate higher academic growth. In this example, the student's growth score for ELA is 50. That means their academic growth in ELA is exactly average among all of the other students in their grade who also had a growth score. This student's growth score for math is 68, which means they grew or advanced academically in math more than 68% of their peers who also had a growth score, well above average. The growth scores are separated into 4 growth categories. The student's growth category for each content area is shown in the last column on the right. Category 1 or 2 means their improvement was lower than most of their peers. Category 3 or 4 means their improvement was about average or higher than most of their peers. Below the student results table, you can find more technical explanations of the scale score, student percentile, and growth score. Page 2 of the ISR, or on the back, you can get more detail about how well your student did on the ACAP Summative for ELA and Math separately, and for Science if your student took the Science test. There's also some additional information included for the separate content areas. First, at the top of the page, you'll see a color-coded bar that's divided by the 4 performance levels for ELA. Your student's scale score is shown below that with an arrow pointing to where they landed within their level. In this example, you can see that even though the student scored in level 3, they were very close to scoring in level 4. Below that, on the right, is a chart that shows how your student is progressing for each reporting category. A reporting category is a name for a particular subset of the items on the test. For ELA, there's reading, writing, and language with even smaller subsets of items under each of those. This just lets you know where your students' strengths and weaknesses are within the content area. If they have 3 stars for reading, then you know they're doing really well in reading. If they have 2 stars, it means that they're on track but may need some additional support. If they have 1 star, it means that they are going to need additional support in that particular area within ELA. To the left of the reporting categories chart is some additional information about your student's scale score in ELA, and then a box that shows your student's Lexile range. This information is useful for picking out books for your student to read outside of school and in the summer. Many children's and young adult books have a Lexile rating assigned to them. If your student wants a book from the library, you can check in the first few pages of the book for the Lexile rating and see if it is within your student's Lexile range. If you want to push them a little bit, you would choose a book rated at the upper number of the Lexile range, or even above it. You can find out more about Lexiles and how you can use your student's Lexile range to choose appropriate reading material by going to the Lexile website, shown here, which is support.lexile.com. You can also create an account at the website and get access to even more resources and activities. Below the information for ELA is the same kind of information for math. You can see where your student's scale score falls within their performance level for math and where their strengths and weaknesses are for each reporting category. Below that is a box that shows your student's quantile range. Similar to the Lexile range, the Quantile range is useful for picking out math activities for your student to practice with outside of school and in the summer. You can also find out more about the Quantile range by going to the Lexile website, which has math resources and activities available for download. Here's a screenshot of what to look for on that website. Finally, at the bottom of the page, if your student took the science test, you'll see the same information for science that you see for ELA and math. At the very bottom, you'll see some more technical information about the reporting categories and what the progress stars mean. That's a lot of information packed into a 2-page report. If you still have questions about what's on the ISR and how your child performed on the ACAP Summative, you can download an ISR quick guide from the ALSDE website, alabamaachieves.org, or you can contact your student's school and request a conference with their teacher. Thanks for watching.